Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
Big crowds here at Chase Field this weekend. We had nearly 110,000 fans for 3 games against Washington. And now the team right behind them in the National League East standings comes in to begin a 3-game set. It's the D-backs and the Atlanta Braves. Join us for Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly along the way, the first of 3, the D-backs and the Braves. And Bob, a chance to stop the bleeding here, get back in the win column. J.D. Martinez in the starting lineup.
Yeah, it really looks good with J.D. Martinez down there in that 5-hole. We only got to see it for 2 at-bats in Cincinnati, having the lineup with Peralta, Pollock, Lamb, Goldie, and Martinez. This is what Torey Lovullo and the Diamondbacks were searching for when they went out and got J.D. Martinez, a guy to lengthen that lineup a little bit. Legitimate power threat down there in that 5-hole, hopefully to drive in a ton of runs.
His first start in Chase Field as a Diamondback out there in right field tonight. On the mound, it's Zack Greinke, who is still unbeaten at home this year.
He really likes the friendly confines of Chase Field. 9-0 in 11 starts. He struck out 11.3 batters per 9 innings, held the opposition to a 192 average. Hopefully those numbers will continue here tonight against the Bravos.
Couple of veteran pitchers head-to-head. Zack Greinke for the Diamondbacks and the knuckleballer R.A. Dickey for the Braves. First pitch is coming up on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up today at any Gila River hotels and casinos location. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By Santan Ford. We are Santan Ford. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world.
is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealer, where you get more standard features for less money. By Gigablast Internet from Cox. Get ready for the gig life. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide.
By Phoenix International Raceway. See Dale Jr.'s final West Coast race during the Can-Am 500 NASCAR semifinal, November 10th through the 12th. Get your tickets at phoenixraceway.com.
And by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM.
Inside Chase Field, buttoned up and set to go. Zach Greinke for the Diamondbacks. R.A. Dickey for the Atlanta Braves. You open up this three-game series with the first pitch next on Fox Sports Arizona. Lead holders taking the field with the D-backs with the roof closed as we open up a three-game series against the Atlanta Braves. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, and Pat Perez with you. Braves just swept a three-game set from the D-backs in Atlanta to open up the season's second half, so it's time for some payback against these guys. Here's the Braves lineup. It's presented by your Valley Chevy dealer.
Danny Santana will lead it off. Super utility player playing center field tonight. Brandon Phillips, the veteran, at second base. Freddie Freeman over at third base. Boy, does that sound strange. Freddie Freeman at third. Matt Kemp will be out in left field with Nick Markakis in right. Tyler Flowers doing the catching. Big Matt Adams hit a three-run homer with 2 outs in the ninth yesterday to tie the game against the Dodgers. He'll be at first base. Johan Camargo at shortstop, and R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, on the mound.
And on the mound for the Diamondbacks, your Ram truck starter is the right-hander Zach Greinke. 11-4, a 2.97 ERA. Zach in his previous start last Wednesday at Cincinnati, not really as sharp as we usually see coming off that long layoff over the All-Star break.
Yeah, so far this season, in 7 starts after a Diamondbacks loss, Zach Greinke is 5-1 with a 2.70 ERA. The team is 5-2 in those starts. And as we know, the Diamondbacks dropped a tough one yesterday, looking to their ace to stop the bleeding.
Nationwide Vision Centers gives us a look at the Diamondbacks defense with David Peralta in left field.
Yeah, Peralta in left, Pollock in center, J.D. Martinez over in right field. Lamb and Owings will be on the left side of the infield tonight with Descalso and Goldie on the right side. Jeff Mathis doing the catching, as usual, for right-hander Zach Greinke.
Alfonso Marquez behind the plate. He'll have the balls and strikes. Chad Whitson at first base. The crew chief Larry Vanover, our second base umpire, And David Rackley is at third. The Braves come in 3 under 500, 47 and 50, and 12 back of the Nationals for the NL East division lead. Danny Santana looks at strike one, and we're underway. Santana acquired from Minnesota earlier this year, hitting .215 with 3 home runs. Braves just made another deal with the Twins this afternoon. They sent pitcher Jaime Garcia to Minnesota. Garcia was supposed to start Wednesday's game here against Patrick Corbin. There's Brian Snitker, the skipper. Atlanta, it's a long road for them right now. They're in the middle of their biggest road trip of the year. They opened up with a 4-game split at Dodger Stadium. They'll play 3 games here and then 4 in Philadelphia. So it's 11 games in 12 days on this trip for the Braves. Santana hits one by Greinke. Descalso at second. Nicely done by Daniel Descalso. One away.
Well, that continues a trend for Zach Greinke. The first batter of any inning this year. That's the 126th plate appearance. He's recorded 1 walk. Struck out 41 of the 126 plate appearances. However, 6 of the 16 home runs he's allowed have been to the first batter of an inning. But 1 walk in 126 leadoff plate appearances.
Put yourself in position to win. Here's Brandon Phillips, 292, 8 home runs, and boy, he just destroyed the D-backs in that 3-game set a couple of weeks ago in Atlanta. A pair of 3-hit games. He was hitting home runs, doubles all over the yard. Brand new SunTrust Park. That one is going to reach the seats out of play. Brandon Phillips comes in riding a 7-game hitting streak. He's got 12 hits in his last 7 games. And as we saw in that series against the Diamondbacks a week or so ago, he really these days, at the age of now 36, looks to go to the opposite field a whole lot, especially against right-hand pitchers.
Even on pitches inside that normally right-handed hitters would look to pull, he kind of steps down that third baseline, steps in the bucket a little bit, and then slashes the ball to the opposite field.
Everything that Phillips hit, it seemed, was headed to right field or right center. After 11 seasons in Cincinnati, now a Brave, there you go. He's gone to the opposite field much more than he's pulled the ball this year. Greinke ahead 0-2. Brandon Phillips, 11 seasons in Cincinnati. Traded to the Braves just as spring training was getting underway. A lot of talk that the Braves might be sellers at the trade deadline. They're still in the wild card discussion, but their move today to trade Jaime Garcia to the Minnesota Twins may be an indication that there will be more deals on the way for or involving guys like Brandon Phillips, maybe Matt Adams, maybe Nick Markakis. They have some pretty movable pieces here if they should choose to go that way. Freddie Freeman on deck. Well, you said, I know you were on assignment during our Atlanta series. You should see when Freddie Freeman is playing third base and the shift is on. He's over there all by himself standing at shortstop. It's weird. Big slow Greinke curveball, and Phillips stays alive.
All 5 pitches that he's thrown to Brandon Phillips have been fouled off. He's yet to throw a ball in this game.
8 pitches, 8 strikes. As we mentioned in the open, Greinke unbeaten at home this year, 9-0 in 11 starts at Chase Field. His ERA here is 2.41. Slider missed, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
You saw Jeff Mathis hanging down the sign for that slider. Had to be a little more emphatic with it. I think maybe Zach wasn't quite sure he wanted to throw that pitch, and Jeff kind of nodded his head and said, yeah, this is the right pitch. Throw me that slider off the outside corner, see if we can get him to chase. And shook to the fastball in this time. There it is.
Sure enough, Phillips lifts one in the air to J.D. Martinez. He tried to go the other way. 2 down. There's J.D. his first start as a Diamondback here tonight. Here is the third baseman, Freddie Freeman.
third baseman, number 5.
330 leads the Braves with 18 homers. He's been a very aggressive swinger against right-hand pitchers this year. He won't shift per se against him. It's more of a shade. Freeman really does use the whole field. A lot of teams shift against him like he's a pull hitter. He's not. He's got a straight dead center field approach up there. Braves have not been able to get Matt Adams' bat out of the lineup. He, as Bob mentioned, hit a big home run yesterday in LA off Dodgers closer Kenley Jansen. So Adams was hitting home runs every other day while Freeman was on the DL with a wrist injury. And when Freeman came back, he said, hey, why don't I just play third? I played over there in high school. I can play third base, and Matt Adams can just stay at first, and we can keep his bat in the lineup, and that's what they've done. Kind of guy that Freddie Freeman seems to be, the unquestioned leader of this ball club. It was his idea to move across to the other side of the diamond. Two and two. Here is Big City. A 3-run homer in the 9th yesterday at Dodger Stadium off Kenley Jansen, who blew the save. LA won in extra innings anyway, and a Logan Forsythe walk-off hit. But Adams has been a huge addition to this ball club. He's got 15 homers, 14 of them coming since his trade from St. Louis.
With no Ender Inciarte in the lineup tonight, there's very little speed at all in this Braves lineup. Stolen base is not really part of their offensive equation.
Inciarte getting the night off. 2 and 2 to Freddie Freeman. Just gets a piece of that slow curveball. Stays fair for Goldie. Greinke works a 1-2-3 first. Diamondbacks coming up against R.A. Dickey. Against your Ram truck starter for the Braves, it's R.A. Dickey, the veteran knuckleballer, now 42 years old, his 15th season in the big leagues. Winless in 4 starts this month.
Yeah, one thing that sets R.A. Dickey apart from most knuckleball pitchers, he throws his at different velocities. He'll throw it in the low 70s. He'll throw a hard one in the low 80s. He'll mix in an occasional fastball, but most of the time, especially when he's ahead in the count, you're going to see that floating knuckleball.
Our Valley Chevy dealers give us a look at the D-backs lineup.
David Peralta will lead it off out in left field. A.J. Pollock batting second in center. Jake Lamb at third base. Paul Goldschmidt at first. J.D. Martinez filling that 5 spot in the lineup, playing right field. Daniel Descalso at second base. Chris Owings at shortstop, with Jeff Mathis doing the catching for Zach Greinke.
This is the lineup that Torey Lovullo envisioned when J.D. Martinez was first acquired. David Peralta a little better on base percentage than A.J. Pollock. And you want to give A.J. more RBI opportunity. So Peralta now the leadoff man, and he takes one right in the arm. Knuckleballer doesn't always come with instructions or where it's going. Let's take a look now, Bob, at your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game. What is the key tonight?
Well, for the first time since 2 at-bats in Cincinnati, we've got the Fab Five together at the top of the order with Peralta and Pollock, Lamb, Goldie, and Martinez. Hopefully this Fab Five will fare a little better than the one at the University of Michigan did.
Oh, that was when Chris Webber called a timeout and they didn't have it.
Didn't have a timeout.
Yeah. A Michigan man will coach the Michigan team. That didn't work out either. Can you tell our producer Brad Weimer went to Michigan? What gave it away?
Couldn't pass that one up.
A.J. Pollock. He just came back from his Nerd Fest. I thought dressing as Wonder Woman was a little bit much.
I don't know. I thought he was the best looking Wonder Woman at the freak show.
See, aren't you glad you came back? Yeah, I mean, you step away from the team here, you're going to have to take a certain amount of abuse, even if it's justified vacation.
It happens down in the dugout. You know, guys on the DL return to the lineup, and they take their share.
Brian, the wonder dog Henry filled in, thought very well, did a great job producing the games while the big dog was out. But it's good to have him back, even if he went to Michigan.
Well, he had something happen that never happened in Ann Arbor. He got sunburned.
You never see the sun in Ann Arbor. It's snowing there. I think it snowed there today, in fact.
Flurries.
Just a light.
No accumulation.
A light dusting.
Just a dusting. Did David Peralta jam his ankle or something going back to the bag there at first base, taking a little extra time to regroup?
Dave McKay coaching at first.
David called timeout, kind of stepped off the back of the bag there, bent over at the waist.
He seems to be okay. 1-1 to A.J. Pollock. Did you have an approach as a hitter against a knuckleball guy? There were a few knuckleballers in your day that were still working the circuit.
Yeah, the Necro brothers. You know, there's so many theories out there. See it high, let it fly. If it's low, let it go. You want the pitch to be up because the velocity is so below what you're used to seeing that gravity is going to take that ball down a lot more than you think as it gets into the hitting zone. So don't swing at anything down like that. Make him get it up. I talked to Dave Magadan about it before the ball game. Do you have a specific philosophy? And he says, yeah, I have a lot of philosophies, but they usually don't work. I mean, a knuckleball pitcher like Tom Candiotti, they don't know where it's going. So how are you supposed to prepare for that as a hitter? And the theory that most of the guys I talked to today were going to try tonight was make yourself believe that every pitch is going to be a hittable strike, because you can stop your swing a lot easier than trying to track the knuckleball and decide you want to swing at a pitch late.
Tapper back to the mound. Brandon Phillips plays first baseman there and extends for the stretch. They get the force on Peralta. Pollock's aboard. Let's take a look at Atlanta's defense. It's presented by Nationwide Vision Center.
Danny Santana will be out in center field, flanked by veteran Matt Kemp in left, veteran Nick Markakis in right. It'll be Freddie Freeman and Johan Camargo on the left side of the infield. Brandon Phillips and big Matt Adams on the right side. Tyler Flowers chasing that knuckleball around behind the plate tonight, and R.A. Dickey on the mound.
Tyler Flowers. Here's Jake Lamb now. Jake 275, 23 homers, second in the major leagues with those RBIs. He's had an RBI in 5 straight games, in fact. Had the day off yesterday. Let's see, last time, look at the size of Tyler Flowers' catcher's mitt. I mean, that's like 3 or 4 gloves back there. And this is something that we noticed in Atlanta. He does not present a target to R.A. Dickey. He keeps the mitt on the ground and doesn't lift it up until after Dickey has delivered the pitch.
Yeah, the mitt itself is kind of a hybrid between a first baseman's glove and a catcher's mitt. A lot more flexible than a regular catcher's mitt. But yeah, he's just ready to react to whatever that pitch does.
A.J. breaks for second, and he's in there. Mary Vanover, the crew chief, says safe. Rolled away from Tyler Flowers.
It's going to happen a lot tonight. I don't care how good a knuckleball catcher you are. Some of them are going to get away from Tyler Flowers tonight. And if the Diamondbacks have runners on base, they need to be alert and ready to break.
Well, the Diamondbacks, that's part of their game anyway. So he moves to second in a wild pitch. 1-1 on Jake Lamb. Jake with 3 home runs in his last 4 games. He homered, doubled, and walked 3 times in the series against the Nationals. He knocked in 3. That rolls back to the mound. A wild pitch with automatic return.
And once again, getting back to Dave Magadan, he was encouraging his hitters to be ready to hit every pitch and then stop your swing if you see the ball dip out of the strike zone late. If you wait until that ball gets in the hitting zone before you decide to swing, you're going to be tardy on everything. So be ready to swing at every pitch and then stop your swing if you decide it's not something you want. Another thing he told him is don't be afraid to swing and miss. As I said, Dickey doesn't know where the ball's going. There's no way you know as a hitter, and there's a real good chance you're going to look foolish swinging at some pitches.
Well, the Braves got a big break on that previous pitch. It was behind Flowers, but it hit the leg of the umpire, Alfonso Marquez. So Pollock stays at second. 3-1 to Jake Lamb with Goldie on deck. D-backs 14 over 500, third in the National League West right now. They're 11.5 games behind the Dodgers division lead and 1 game behind the Rockies for the first NL wildcard spot. Colorado trailing at St. Louis. Mike Leake has a 4-0 lead. They're in the 7th. Dodgers host Minnesota later tonight in LA. Bartolo Colon is on the mound for the Twins. There's a walk to Lamb, so first and second, 1 out for Goldie. 307 and 21 homers. Pollock is the runner at second, Lamb at first, 1 out. First pitch is in there for strike 1. Goldie, a lot of swings and misses lately. He has struck out 11 times in his last 17 at bats. He had 1 hit in the series against the Nationals.
Well, it's no secret that as Goldie goes, so the Diamondbacks go. In the 55 wins this year, Goldie has scored 58 runs. That's over a run per game. In the 42 losses, he scored 18 runs. That's less than half a run a game. His batting average in the wins, .360. Slugging percentage is .635. In the 42 losses, a .238 batting average with a slugging percentage about .464.
Well, he's had a quiet 3 weeks or so, and that's reflected in the record. The Diamondbacks have lost 14 of their last 20 games coming into tonight. 1-2 to Paul Goldschmidt.
You know, we talked a lot about J.D. Martinez when the Diamondbacks acquired him and how that lengthens the lineup, but also it helps to pick up a guy like Goldie when he goes into a little bit of a funk for a week or 10 days. It's nice to have some guys surrounding him in the lineup that are capable of carrying the offense.
Another knuckler missed, and it's full 3-2. Well, they like the idea of Goldie coming up with more RBI opportunities, more guys on base ahead of him, and he gets some protection, if you like to use that word, with Martinez behind him. Pollock is the runner at second and Lamb at first. Swinging and a miss on the knuckleball. He strikes out on the 3-2 pitch. 2 down.
No rotation at all. The wind catches those seams as that ball floats up to home plate and pushes it one direction, then another direction, then up, then down. Dickey has no idea where it's going, and certainly the hitter doesn't have any idea.
J.D. Martinez in the starting lineup for the first time as a Diamondback at Chase Field. 302, 16 homers. Acquired last week from the Detroit Tigers for 3 minor leaguers. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. Martinez had a really good at bat against Matt Albers yesterday in the 7th inning, worked a walk. In the starting lineup tonight, playing right field. Shortstop Camargo, underhand toss to second for the force on Lamb, and Dickey strands 2. No score after 1. Brad the Big Dog Weimer, someone stole his hat. I think that was a setup. I think he set us up for that. D-backs fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, stream them live on your mobile device. Fox Sports Go is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealers. Just download the free app and take Fox Sports Arizona and the Diamondbacks with you wherever you go. Matt Kemp leads off the second against Zach Greinke. Swing and a miss on that slider. It's 0-1. Kemp 294, 13 home runs. Bats come to life a little bit lately. He's hit safely in 4 straight games and 9 of his last 10. Kemp will chase a fastball inside. He'll chase pitches outside the strike zone when the pitcher is behind in the count. So oftentimes he'll help that guy out. Really vulnerable to breaking balls from right-handers, so this should be a good matchup for Greinke. He is up there hacking. And sure enough, he swings at a slider. Owings at shortstop. 4 up, 4 down for Zach.
4 hitters in the ball game. Zach Greinke's had an 0-2 count on 3 of them already.
Right fielder, number 22.
Well, he just wasn't the Zach Greinke we're used to seeing his last time out. He had gone 12 days without a start if you throw out the 1 inning in the All-Star game, and it just wasn't commanding quite as crisply as he normally does. The stuff wasn't quite there. Threw a whole bunch of pitches.
Weather-wise, it was a tough day, hot and humid. I'd never seen Zach take off his hat between every pitch and wipe his brow, wipe his forehead, put his hat back on, throw another pitch, and do it again.
Now back home in the air-conditioned comfort of Chase Field. Strike 1 to Nick Markakis. Greinke in that start last Wednesday in Cincinnati, 3 runs, 8 hits. He went only 5 innings and Needed 104 pitches to get through 5. And his 3 strikeouts were his lowest total all year. But so far, so good. 4 batters, 4 outs, 1-1 on Martinez, who leads the Braves in RBIs. Fastball's a strike, 1-2. Martinez, a slow month at the plate. He's hitting .215 in July. Comes into this ball game with 1,990 career hits. He's 10 shy of 2,000. This does get a piece of that slider. Fastball missed. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tyler Flowers, the catcher, on deck. Swings and misses at the slider. First strikeout for Greinke tonight. 2 down in the second.
He gets that straight downward movement on that slider. Almost no lateral movement.
You see more and more guys doing that now. Slider used to be a big sweeping pitch that moved across the strike zone. Here's the catcher, Tyler Flowers.
Yeah, most of the time it had more lateral movement, in this case away from a right-handed hitter, but not as much downward movement. The guys nowadays, a lot of them, it goes straight down to the ground. Very short, sharp, late break.
First pitch fastball is in there. Flowers has hit safely in 4 straight games, including a couple of home runs. Well, that was what the opposing hitters noticed most of all about Zack Greinke very early this year. It was back in April, and word got around, wow, he's throwing that slider a lot harder than he used to, certainly last year. He's added a little velocity to it, a little more bite to it. It's got some zip that wasn't there last year, at least according to the opposing hitters. And that's made a big difference for him. Here's Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, on the right. Fastball missed. It's 2-1. Out in front of that curveball. Well, that's been a nice wrinkle for Zack Greinke this year. That slow curveball that comes in about 75, 76 or so. Sometimes he'll throw it only 2-3 times a game. Other times a lot more often. It always seems to vary. Comes in with a fastball, and Flowers drills it into left center. AJ has it in front of the wall. Tyler Flowers has his 10th double. First hit for Atlanta. Well, Mathis set up inside. That's where they wanted that fastball, and Flowers turned on it.
Well, Zack Greinke's not the only major league player that's comfortable here at Chase Field. Tyler Flowers is now 7 for 13 here at Chase with 3 doubles and has driven in 4 runs.
Well, he's now got a 5-game hitting streak overall. He's in scoring position. 2 down for Big City Matt Adams, who had a big 3-run homer yesterday at Dodger Stadium. 288 and 16 home runs. All but one of those homers have come with Atlanta, following his trade from the Cardinals on May 20th. Descalso backs up well on the outfield grass at second. There's a ball. It's 1-0. Here's a look at the defensive alignment. Owings the shortstop. Right behind the bag at second, you see Descalso, the second baseman, back out there. Adams is an aggressive swinger at the plate. He'll chase a breaking ball down and away out of the strike zone. He'll go after a fastball up in the zone. You leave that breaking pitch up a little bit, he'll pull it into right or right center. Places that one foul.
A little miscommunication there. Jeff Mathis is going to go out and talk to Zach Greinke. Chris Owings is going to join that conversation. Chris broke in behind Flowers out there at second base, was right on the bag expecting a pickoff throw, and Greinke delivered the pitch to home plate. Now, just because the shortstop breaks for the bag doesn't mean you have to throw the ball to second base, but you do need to step off the rubber, let Chris Owings get back into a defensive position before you deliver the ball.
Well, fortunately, Adams fouled that one off. It's 1-2. This is a guy who gets even more aggressive in 2 strike counts. Mathis wants it down, and sure enough, Adams chases with 2 strikes, a curveball, but he just did get a piece. Greinke trying to strand Flowers, 2-out double. Chased a high fastball. Sure enough, 2 strikeouts in the inning. No score at Chase.
Chase Field, no score. Braves and Diamondbacks. You guys have been talking a lot about the knuckleballer R.A. Dickey and how you face him. Torey Velo asked about the last time they faced him just a week and a half ago, and he said he really liked the approach that his team had about waiting for the ball to be up in our zone. So get the ball up and then let it fly. He said they did a nice job with that. Of course, they got 8 hits off of R.A. Dickey. He went 6 innings, allowed just 1 run. So Torey points out that they've got to come through, though, when those men get on base. They weren't able to do that the first time around against R.A. Dickey. Stephen Bob.
Thanks, Pat. Daniel Descalso leads off the second. 240 and 6 homers. Usually that knuckleballer comes in, you know, mid-70s, low 70s, and it drops 6-8 feet or something. Dickey is famous for throwing a harder knuckleballer than most guys, right?
He'll change speeds on the knuckler. I mentioned it earlier. Dave Magadan said he'll throw it from the low 70s up to the low 80s. They kind of use it. It is an off-speed pitch, but it has a lot more movement than most off-speed pitches.
And then he'll zip the occasional fastball in there at 83, and it looks like 95. Don't be afraid to swing and miss.
Yeah.
1-2.
It may look real funny on a couple of swings in a ball game against a knuckleball pitcher, but you just have to let it go, get ready for the next one.
Well, Dickey hit a batter and walked a batter in the first, but stranded 2. Struck out Goldie, got Martinez to ground out. That one goes foul up the first base line, says Chad Whitson down there. It's 1-2.
We were talking about some of the knuckleball pitchers I saw back in the day, the Niekro brothers, Joe with Houston and Phil at the time with Atlanta. I saw Joe Niekro pitch a game at Candlestick Park in the wind with Luis Pujols behind the plate.
Ooh.
Now, Luis Pujols was a really good defensive catcher. He had 4 pass balls. There were 2 wild pitches. He had only had 2 pass balls the entire season up until that game was on June 24th, I believe. He had 22 pass balls the rest of the season.
Saw Dickey try the quick pitch right there. That's another one of his bag of tricks. Descalso's had good luck against R.A. Dickey in his career. 8 for 13. Did Joe Niekro have the Emery board in that start?
Not in that particular start that we know of. He may have, but
well, Louis Pujols was a very good backup catcher on some of those excellent Astros teams, backing up Alan Ashby.
Yeah.
Always on deck, full count to Descalso, who's the second baseman tonight. Leadoff walk, second base on balls issued by Dickey. This was a big problem for R.A. Dickey early in the year. He was walking guys by the bucketful, but he's pretty much solved that problem as of late, but it's getting away from him a bit. He's hit a batter and walked 2 so far through 6. And here's the shortstop, Chris Owings.
Knuckleball is such a strange pitch. I found it funny talking to Tom Candiotti. Candy liked to pitch in a dome with the knuckleball. Most knuckleball pitchers like some atmosphere. They like thick, heavy, humid air. They like a little bit of a wind blowing in their face, so they're throwing the ball into the wind. It causes even more erratic movement on that knuckleball. I was surprised to find out Candy liked to pitch in the dome.
There's Tom Candiotti and the great Leo Gilmartin working Diamondbacks radio just to our right here with the governor, Greg Schulte.
Justin Bohr was removed for a pinch hitter.
Governor's got his eye on that Marlins game where Justin Bohr came out in the middle of the game. A 4th inning, they pinch hit for him, which activated everybody's trade alerts. A couple of deals across the major leagues today. Braves made one.
It's that time of year.
Braves have not announced yet, I don't believe, who's going to start Wednesday here. They're supposed to be Jaime Garcia, but they traded him to the Twins this afternoon. 1-2 on Chris Owings.
Yeah, Chris Owings is just glad to be facing a right-handed pitcher that doesn't throw a lot of sliders. That's about all he has seen recently from right-handed pitching. Sliders away.
Yeah, CO scuffling a bit right now. He's 2 for his last 26 up there. Descalso will lead off walk. Dickey strikes him out, his second strikeout today. 1 down in the second. We were talking yesterday with Chris Herman about how sometimes it's easier for catchers to hit when they're catching. They're tracking balls throughout the game. It sharpens the old batting eye. And what about against a knuckleballer?
Unless your guy throws a knuckleball, I don't think it's going to help you that much. But I mean, this is just kind of a unique game. You're going to have 1 or 2, maybe 3 over the course of the season where you bump up against somebody that throws a knuckler, and you just battle it as best you can. I don't think there are any answers. I mean, they asked Bob Uecker, how do you catch a knuckleball? He said it's easy. You wait till it stops rolling, you pick it up.
Works every time.
Yeah.
Mathis bangs one into left. Boy, Jeff Mathis has been a hitter. He's now hit safely in 6 straight games and 12 of his last 14.
Pitcher number 21.
So 2 on, 1 out for Greinke. First hit tonight for the Diamondbacks against R.A. Dickey. Greinke wants a timeout. He wants to check with Tony Perez-Chico over there at third. Greinke's going to go all the way down to the coach's box. Looks like he's got an idea.
Yeah, Tony was intent on seeing where all the Braves were going to play defensively. How much of a lead could Daniel Descalso get out there at second base? Which middle infielder was going to be jockeying back to the bag? And Zach Greinke was trying to get his attention to ask him a question about a potential bunt situation.
Well, a walk to Descalso, 1 out single by Mathis. Here's Greinke, 5 hits on the year. Dickey stranded 2 in the first with 1 out. Now he's got 2 on in the second with 1 out. Adams comes in on the grass from first. Freeman close to the bag at third. It's 1-0. Two first basemen playing corner infield spots. Matt Adams at first and Freddie Freeman, which is still weird to say, at third. Usually third base. I mean, there are some big third basemen. You know, Jake Lamb's a big dude, but usually you look down to third. It's a guy like Bob Horner or the Penguin Ron Sate, not a big giant like Freddie Freeman.
Troy Gloss jumps to mind.
Yeah,
to me.
that's a
He's
good one.
Big third baseman.
Yeah, you got to think to find him. Usually it's about, you know, a guy that's a little more squat, about 6 foot or so. Manny Machado in that bigger shortstop mold. He moved over to third. Big shortstops have become very trendy, of course. 1-2. Dodgers and Twins underway in LA. Hyunjin Ryu for the Dodgers and Bartolo Colon for Minnesota. Rockies are trailing in St. Louis 6-2. They're in the 8th. Does that extra big giant mitt really help you catch the knuckleball?
Yeah, it helps you knock it down. I mean, you know, if it doesn't move a lot, you can catch it just like you would catch any other pitch, any traditional pitch. But when that knuckleball has that late movement, sometimes you literally just use that big glove to knock it down. Swat it out of the air. Gives you a little more range on a pitch like that where he's got to reach across the plate toward that left-handed batter's box. A little more length to that glove.
I mean, you could catch a football in that thing.
And most knuckleball pitchers travel their own mitt because you get traded from team to team, and you know, catchers don't carry a knuckleball mitt in their utility bag by rule, but most pitchers have one that they take with them.
That one almost went to the backstop, and it's a full count on Zach Greinke, 3-2. Sometimes you just can't find anybody to catch. I remember when the Red Sox traded Doug Mirabelli, nobody could catch Wakefield. Varitek was helpless back there, so they had to reacquire Mirabelli and get him up to the ballpark in a cab minutes before the start. Greinke belts it fair down the left field line. This will get Descalso home. Mathis will stop at third. It's an RBI double for Zach Greinke.
Fastball inside part of the plate. Nice quick swing that time by Zach Greinke. His third RBI of the year comes on a double down into the left field corner.
Well, now you got the chance for the big inning. Still only 1 out. Second and third, and the top of the order comes up in David Peralta. Peralta was hit by a pitch his first time up. David had an RBI single yesterday against the Nationals. And he's hitting .362 in his last dozen games. Squirts this one to shallow center. Camargo ranging out there from shortstop. And that's the second out. A.J. Pollock. Well, we talked about these situations, Bob, yesterday. This was a big theme, and the Diamondbacks in 5 different innings left 2 runners on base yesterday, and it really cost them in that 6-2 loss to Washington. So when you get these opportunities, just got to start taking advantage more often.
In that Washington series, the first 2 innings of the first game of this series, the Diamondbacks were 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Since then, they're 3 for their last 21.
Stranded 2 runners in the first. The run is in the second. 2 on and 2 out for Pollock. A.J. almost swung out of his shoes that time.
We mentioned that knuckleball, very erratic. Sometimes it'll break down and into a righty. This one looked like it broke straight away over toward the left-handed batter's box. Like a flat roundhouse breaking pitch.
Pollock, base hit. Mathis' home. Here comes Greinke. A.J. Pollock, a 2-run double, and it's 3-0 Diamondbacks.
That's more like it. Just stayed right in the hitting zone at 79. We showed you the pitch before that broke hard away from A.J. Pollock. That one didn't do much of anything, and A.J. took advantage, driving home 2.
He's at second with 2 outs for Jake Lamb, who walked his first time up tonight. Jake has 12 RBIs in his last 5 games with 6 extra base hits. Oh, and 2. Boy, it makes such a big difference when you get that 2-out hit to knock in 2 and a 1 becomes a 3. Everything just feels better. Lamb strikes out, but Greinke has an RBI double. Pollock has a 2-run double, and the Diamondbacks have a 3-0 lead.
In that second inning, D-backs take a 3-zip lead over the Atlanta Braves. Time to take a look at this day in Major League Baseball history. We go back to 1948. 6 days after hitting 4 home runs in one game, White Sox outfielder Pat Siri makes the record book once again. Not so much fun this time, however. First major league player to strike out 7 times in a doubleheader. Ouch.
Talk about an all or nothing guy. There's Johan Camargo, the rookie shortstop, who's been impressive. 314 and a homer. Switch hitter batting from the left-hand side against Greinke. Dansby Swanson has just fallen off the cliff offensively. And in the meantime, Camargo, a guy who can play shortstop, second base, third base, has done nothing but hit. And so Camargo is in there much more often, and Swanson, who right now is stuck in a 5 for 54 slump, is on the bench. And slap foul right in front of Ron Washington coaching at third. And there is Sam. Drove my Chevy to the Levenberg, our Golden Glover, down the left field line. Working right field today is Bruce. Wax on, winds off. For you Karate Kid fans. 0-2 to Camargo. Well, people are trying to figure out what happened with Dansby Swanson. He's got 1 hit in his last 28 at bats. His defense has been a little suspect this year. It's been almost kind of a lost season for him.
Everything gets a little accelerated at the major league level. If you have a hole in your swing, it's going to be discovered, and the advanced scouts are going to make notes of it, and everybody in the league is soon going to be attacking that weakness over and over and over again until you close it.
Well, Zach Greinke, 40 pitches, 31 for strikes. Strikes out Camargo. That's his 3rd punch out, 1 down.
Good change up, starts it on the outside corner, fades it over into that right-handed batter's box. It's that hard change up, just a few miles per hour off his fastball velocity.
Robert Allen Dickey, 4 for 38 this year. R.A. Dickey now in his 15th major league season. 2012 Cy Young winner when he went 20-6 with the Mets. From there it was 4 seasons in Toronto. He got himself a base hit right back up the box, a 1-out single.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Center field.
Here's the leadoff man, the center fielder Danny Santana. He grounded out to lead off the ball game. Day off for Ender and Ciarte today. Braves, as we mentioned, on their longest road trip of the year right now. 11 games in 12 days. They play 4 in LA, where they split 2 and 2. 3 here, then 4 in Philly. So Brian Snitker trying to get some guys some days off here and there. Big cut at that changeup. It's 0-1.
It was kind of odd to see a ball get hit past Zach Greinke on the mound. Usually he makes a play on everything, even those line drives. I think it kind of surprised him that Dickey made contact.
It was hard hit right back up the box. Zach has twice been a Gold Glove winner. Broken bat. He's got that one. CO for 1, and they roll it. Oh, Zach Greinke makes short work of that Braves rally. He's got a 3-0 lead.
pitcher. 3-0 Diamondbacks lead as we head to the bottom half of the third inning. Take a look at our State Farm winning combo. Congratulations to the Hillsboro Hops, who won the first half title, clinching their 4th straight berth in the Northwest League playoffs. Pavin Smith, the first-round draft pick in this year's draft for the Diamondbacks, leads the league in batting average and on-base percentage. Sean Roof is the manager of that team. Bird, Mike Parrott, the pitching coach. Franklin Stubbs, the hitting coach, and apparently they've been knocking the cover off the ball. Pavin Smith, Drew Ellis, Dalton Varsho, another man that was drafted this year. Yeah. Camden Duznak, they've been raking.
Yeah, Pavin Smith and Ellis and Varsho, the first 3 picks for the Diamondbacks in the draft this year. And boy, they appear to have gotten all those picks right. Those guys are killing it right now. That's great to see.
Yeah, and apparently Hillsboro also has a lockdown bullpen. They just don't give it up once they get the lead.
Two 2-0 to Goldie, who struck out his first time up. Diamondbacks with 3 in the second, and RBI doubles by Zach Greinke, a 2-run double by A.J. Pollock. And Goldie, a leadoff walk. BB, we'd be remiss if we didn't thank the great Dennis Lamb, star of the Dennis Lamb Show, and there he is in our booth right here, who cooked our whole crew a tremendous meal today. Chicken, you did your special coleslaw, that's my favorite. So you and Tony and everybody, thank you, Dennis. We had a great pregame meal. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
That's all you have to say?
Well, you know what? I really want to take some time and thank my benefactor. The benefactor is the main person to pull this off. Thank you.
Everybody contributes, and it was a great time. BB was down there. You had about 3 plates of chicken.
The dessert, lemon pound cake. I tore that up.
Wild pitch sends Goldie up to second. We do that a couple of times a year. Dennis and Tony and the Lamb family cook a whole big spread for everybody, and we're out there in the parking lot by the trucks eating ourselves silly.
Yeah, it was a good night to do it. It wasn't so hot out there. We were able to sit outside and enjoy a picnic. It was nice.
1-0-1 J.D. Martinez. He grounded out into a fielder's choice his first time up. Lays off that knuckler, and it's 2-0. J.D. Martinez says he's just here to hop on the train. Be part of what the D-backs already have going, trying to bring a World Series to the desert. He's already been hit once on the hand.
Get that hand out of the way.
Well, Dickey walked Goldie on 4 pitches. Wild pitched him to second. Now he's behind on Martinez 3-0. He has walked 3 and struck out 3 so far.
You see a little bit of a pad on the left hand of J.D. Martinez where he was struck with that pitch in Cincinnati. Right there. It's that little piece of black. It almost looks like tape on the outside of his batting glove, but that's a protective device.
Rolls one to Freeman at third. Looks Goldie back to the bag and retires Martinez. That's something that Freddie Freeman says has been his biggest challenge in getting reacquainted with third base, a position he played last in high school. He says, you know, charging a ground ball, because when you're at first you let the ball come to you. You can't do that at third, he says. And he's a big guy down there at 6'5", 220. Daniel Descalso walked his first time up. It's funny, it seems obvious, but if you think about it, unless it's a bunt, you never see the first baseman charge a ground ball unless he's playing way back or something.
It might be worth a try for the Diamondbacks that are capable of doing it, to try to dump a bunt down that third baseline. See how Freddie Freeman handles that barehanded play.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be something that's happened against the Braves, no matter who they play when Freeman is at third. but you think people would take a shot at least.
That's a foul ball there off the bat of Daniel Descalso. Checked his swing successfully, but I think that knuckleball, some late movement, might have moved the ball into the bat. He just caught it off the very end right there.
Good call back there by Alfonso Marquez. 60 pitches for Dickey, only 34 strikes. He's walked 3 and hit a batter so far.
Get off me, ball. Sometimes you start your swing on a pitch that looks like it's going to be out over the plate, and then that last break comes back into you as a left-handed hitter. That time Daniel just had to fight it off. Harder knuckleball that time at 80 miles an hour.
Owings on deck. He does try to mix up the velocity, I guess, and he'll mix his deliveries up as well. You'll see the occasional quick pitch. Haven't seen much of it tonight, just once or twice. Two and two.
You know, back in the day, you would have never seen this many regulars in the lineup against a knuckleball pitcher.
Well, it was the philosophy that it just would screw up everybody's swing.
Yeah, it would mess you up for days after facing a knuckleball pitcher. So when I was with the Giants, Joe Morgan and Jack Clark and Darrell Evans, some of the veterans in our lineup, would take the day off against a knuckleballer and throw the B squad in there.
Well, it makes sense.
Shortstop,
It was especially difficult, I thought, for the Diamondbacks against R.A. Dickey when he opened up the second half of the year against him. And that couldn't have been easy. You had a bit of a layoff and you come back after 3-4 days off, your first game back, all of a sudden this guy's throwing knuckleballs at you. Owings struck out his first time. Bouncer to Freeman at third. R.A. Dickey strands the leadoff walk. Diamondbacks have a 3-0 lead. Secure your seats now for some big games in August. You won't want to miss these. Diamondbacks and Dodgers at Chase Field for 2 series next month, August 8th through the 10th and the 29th through the 31st. The Cubbies will be here a weekend set August 11th, 12th and 13th. And the Houston Astros August 14th and 15th. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. We got some big playoff teams, playoff contenders coming in here next month. dbacks.com/tickets. Brandon Phillips, who flied out his first time up, leads off the fourth. Cubbies are playing the White Sox this week. They're at Wrigley today. White Sox beat them 3-1. He gone. Dodgers are hosting the Twins. That game is scoreless in the third in LA. The Rockies are at St. Louis. Cardinals beat up Antonio Senzatella a fair bit. 7-2 St. Louis. They're in the eighth. Phillips sends one up the middle. Owings behind the bag. Some COD.
Watch the reaction by Zach Greinke on the mound. After he releases the pitch, he sees that ground ball and pulls his glove back. He knows where his defenders are playing. He knows if he lets that ball go, Chris Owings is going to have a relatively easy play across the diamond, much easier than if Zach deflected it away from him. So he just pulled the glove back and let his shortstop make the play.
Freddie Freeman grounded out his first time. Our Coors Light cold hard facts. Freddie Freeman has been a problem against the Diamondbacks. He's hit over 360 versus the D-backs. 13 homers, 39 RBIs in 37 games all time. So he is public enemy #1 right now. And here's another example why this is hit deep left center field, and that is off the wall. That's going to stay in the park. It's a double for Freeman. Boy, he just missed another home run off the home run porch, the facing of the porch out there. Here comes Brian Snitker.
Well, it can't hurt if you're the Atlanta Braves to ask the umpires to take a look. This is a boundary call. Freddie Freeman driving one out there just to the left to straightaway center. It almost looked like it hit the yellow stripe going vertically out there, and then came back onto the field of play. Of course, that ball's in play.
Freddie Freeman always hits in this ballpark. You're right, BB, right on the yellow line.
If that bounces into the stands, it's a home run. If it bounces back onto the field of play, it's in play.
Freddie Freeman has played 19 games in this ballpark, not counting tonight. He's got 8 doubles and 8 home runs. He's a .388 career hitter at Chase Field.
Well, we know hitters like this ballpark. Great batter's eye. The ball flies, especially under certain conditions. But Freddie Freeman can hit everywhere.
Now, this is an umpire review. You can't challenge a home run. You can request that they look at it, and they're going to put him at second base. Managers may request but cannot challenge home runs, and they'll always look at it just to make sure they get it correct. So it's not really a big deal. But it winds up as the 16th double this year for Freeman, and the 3rd hit for the Braves. Here's Matt Kemp.
That was the 50th pitch of the ball game for Zach Greinke. 40 of them have been strikes.
How about that?
Just amazing tonight.
We just talked about how he was not sharp in his last start at Cincinnati. 50 pitches, 40 strikes. Slider missed, and it's 1-0. Matt Kemp has been hitting a lot of ground balls over the last month. He leads the major leagues. He's hit into 21 double plays. Not really driving the ball or lifting the ball like he normally does.
Matt Kemp, a little bit of a throwback with that stance in the right-handed batter's box. A little bit of a closed stance. The left foot, the front foot toward the pitcher, is closer to home plate than the back foot. Just about every hitter in the game nowadays is either squared up, both feet parallel, or that front side is wide open so they can get both eyes on that pitcher. But Kemp hitting out of a closed stance.
I always think of Disco Dan Ford when I see closed batting stance. You could see that number 15 square to the pitcher on Danny Ford. Here's another ground ball off the bat of Kemp. Freeman stays put, 2 down.
Danny Ford's a good one. Also, George Hendrick was a guy that used to hit out of an exaggerated closed stance way off the plate, just trying to bait pitchers into pitching him away, and he would stride into that ball and hit a rocket to right field.
Well, Freeman's in scoring position with 2 down. Markakis is the Braves leader in RBIs with 47. He struck out his first time up tonight. A fly ball to center for A.J. Pollock. Zach Greinke strands that 1-out double. It stays 3-0 D-backs. Where the Diamondbacks lead the Braves 3-0. Fans, the Fox Sports Arizona Fan Express, presented by Cox Communications, is set to take you to a Diamondbacks game. Stop by the Cox Solutions store in Phoenix at 301 East Bell Road. And there you can sign up for a chance to win 2 tickets aboard the Fan Express. Winners will go from the store here to Chase Field for the D-backs game against the Giants on August 26th. Registration started today. Jeff Mathis, who singled and scored in the second, leads off the fourth against knuckleball artist R.A. Dickey. Mathis has been a hitter lately. He's hit safely in 6 straight games now and 12 of 14. Hitting over 300 during that stretch. Mentioned that the Dodgers are in action tonight. Scoreless against the Twins in LA. They're in the 3rd inning. They're saying Clayton Kershaw might be out 4 to 6 weeks with that back problem. Left the game in the 2nd inning yesterday against these Braves with a lower back strain, which they're saying is not a recurrence of that herniated disc that kept Kershaw out for about 3 months last year. No score right now. They're in the 4th. Jeff Mathis 2 for 2. Time now for the Cox high-speed highlights. Zach Greinke, after Mathis singled and Descalso walked in the 2nd, comes up and hits an RBI double down the left field line.
Well, we speculated that it was perhaps a sacrifice bunt situation with 1 out in the inning, and Zach Greinke went down, talked to Tony Perez-Chica. He probably told him, listen, I ain't bunting against this guy. I'm going to rake a double down in the corner.
Well, I can't imagine that it's easy to bunt against a knuckleball guy. Yet he's going to square up here. Freeman comes in from 3rd. Bunts at first base side. Dickey's got it. Adams is there, and they move Mathis along. Well, Greinke made it look easy there.
This guy is absolutely the total package. He got a fastball to bunt, however. That's a good thing, but just an absolutely perfect sac bunt down that first baseline, easily moving Jeff Mathis into scoring position for the top of the order.
David Peralta.
You know, so many times in this game we talk about guys that do the little things well, but if you do the little things well for 162 games, you're going to end up winning a lot of ball games. And Zack Greinke does everything well. He fields his position. He holds runners. He throws strikes. He can bunt. He can hit. There's really nothing he can't do to help himself win.
That one gets to the backstop, and Mathis is at third. Another Dickey wild pitch. Let's see, I got him for 3 wild pitches now.
He's just getting started. Boy, that one really took off straight down. We saw one on A.J. Pollock take off straight away from the right-handed hitter. That one went straight down.
Had a wild pitch in the first, third, and now the 4th innings. So he's got 3 wild pitches. He's walked 3, and he's hit a batter. That one rolls away. Mathis is going to stay at third. Tony Perez-Chica coaching down there for the Diamondbacks. 2-0 on David Peralta, who has been hit by a pitch and popped out. Infield comes in for the Braves. Peralta dunks one into center. Mathis scores. Diamondbacks have a 4-0 lead. The RBI single. Best in a million infinite universes, Mr. Peralta.
A little bit of a jam shot. That knuckleball at 79 came back into David Peralta, but just muscled it out there into center field for the 4th run of the game for the D-backs.
Well, here's AJ, who had a 2-run double his last time up. AJ 0 for 2, couple of strikeouts in playing the second half of yesterday's game against the Nationals. That snapped a 5-game hitting streak, but he's already started a new one here today. Inside, it's 2-0. This is Pollock in the second down the left field line. That brought home Mathis, and Greinke behind him made it 3-0. You would think it's, I don't know, I'm guessing it might be a little easier to run on a knuckleballer, but Dickey seems to get rid of that ball pretty quick.
He does, and when you run against a knuckleballer, you are running on the movement as the ball gets into the hitting zone, trusting that Tyler Flowers is not going to be able to square that ball up in the mid. He's not going to be able to make a quick, accurate exchange. I mean, sometimes you run on a catcher with a bad arm, sometimes you run on a pitcher with a slow delivery, but this time you're just running on the pitch itself, trusting that Tyler Flowers is not going to be able to catch it cleanly and get off a throw.
Well, Dickey approaching 80 pitches through 3 1/3. You saw Akil Morris, the right-hander, warming up in the Braves bullpen. AJ, oh, Freddie Freeman took another double at least away from A.J. Pollock. Freeman at 6'5", and he needed every inch of that down at third.
Yeah, if they have one of those stubby wide bodies down there, that ball's over his head into left field, but big old Freddie Freeman goes up the ladder, needs every bit of it to take extra bases away from A.J. that time.
That was an easy double for Pollock. Instead, it's out number 2, and here's Jake Lamb, who was walked and struck out. Well, that cost us a chance to see the freight train get moving on those tracks. Hit that ball in the corner like that. Peralta at first base. It'll look like the wreck of the old 97. there for a strike. Ari Dickey's spot is due up fourth in the top of the fifth inning, so maybe Brian Snitker thinking, all right, it's not quite his night, let's get him out of there. Morris warming up in the pen. 1-1 on Jake Lamb. $80 pitches for Ari Dickey, only 46 for strikes. Not yet out of the fourth. Just about 20 pitches for every inning here, and he's still got some work to do. It's fouled off, and it's 2-2. Now a final in St. Louis. Rockies lose there. Cardinals and Mike Leake beat Colorado 8-2. No score in LA. Twins and Dodgers, they're in the fourth, so that helps out. Oh, that's blistered down the line, but foul. Jake Lamb, National League All-Star this year. He's got an RBI in 5 consecutive games. Going to get behind Flowers, and Peralta advances.
I wonder when Tyler Flowers wakes up in the morning and thinks about him for a moment. Who's pitching for us tonight? Oh no.
He's like the hockey goalie in Slapshot, Kenny Lemieux.
I mean, it's a challenge. As I've said many times already, Dickey doesn't even know where it's going. How in the world are you supposed to be able to catch it consistently?
Well, you just pick it up when it stops rolling.
That's right. Bob Uecker's a genius.
Second walk today for Lamb. Here comes Goldie. Ryan Snitker got Akil Morris, his right-hander, warming up in the bullpen. It's not Ari Dickey's night. Gave up 4 runs, 5 hits, walked 3. Had a whole bunch of wild pitches. He's hit a batter. No signal yet from Snitker.
This is probably different than most meetings that a manager would have on the mound. You know, it's such a unique pitch and takes a unique person to throw it. And I'm sure Brian Snitker just wanted to take his temperature. Do you feel like you're okay? Do you feel like your knuckleball's okay and we can move forward with you? Or is this one of those nights where you just don't have it? And apparently Dickey said the right things to stay in the ball game.
They'll make it now 4 bases on balls. 2 on and 2 out for Goldie, who has struck out and walked. Well, you talk your manager out of taking you out of the ball game. You need to do something here against this guy. That can't be easy. Talked about your key to the game, the Fab Five. They're starting to make some noise. Although it's been due in part to the bottom of the order. Mathis has singled twice, scored twice. Greinke has an RBI double. He scored a run. Peralta up top, an RBI single. AJ a 2-run double. Lamb has walked twice. Well, see if we can hear from Goldie here. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1. 4 wild pitches for Ari Dickey today. J.D. Martinez on deck, so he's hit a batter. He's walked 4 and tied his career high with 4 wild pitches. 3-1 to Goldie. Third consecutive 3-ball count for R.A. Dickey. And that one gets behind him. It's ball 4. They'll make it 5 walks. 90 pitches, 49 strikes.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Well, there's not going to be a discussion this time. Snitker left him in to face Goldie. Goldie walked for the second time tonight. 5 walks for Dickey. His night is done. Back after this. The fourth, he gave up 4 runs. He leaves the bases loaded and 2 outs. And the new pitcher for the Braves, the right-hander Akil Morris, who started the year at Double-A Mississippi, went up to Triple-A Gwinnett at the end of April, and was brought up to the big leagues early this month, his 6th appearance of the year.
Turn up the dial a little bit. Anybody coming in out of that Braves bullpen is going to throw harder than R.A. Dickey.
Including the bullpen catchers.
Yeah.
Well, a chance for J.D. Martinez to make a big splash in his first start as a Diamondback at Chase Field. He's 0 for 2. He's got Peralta at third, Lamb at second, and Goldie at first with 2 outs. Fastball at 93 is in there. It's 0-1. J.D. Martinez, 3 grand slams in his career, including 1 this season. Way out in front of that slider, and Morris jumps ahead 0-2. He comes in and strikes out J.D. Martinez on 3 pitches. Diamondbacks add a run. They lead it 4-0. Shots up there, but strikes out with the bases loaded to end the fourth. It's 4-0 Diamondbacks, and tomorrow it's Twitter Tuesday. There is Jody Jackson, and she will be taking over. Yes, Jody, you're on. She will be taking over the Fox Sports Arizona Twitter account, answering all your questions tomorrow during innings 3 through 5 of our game against the Braves. So be sure to connect with Jody on the Twitter. There's Gracie. He's an advisor on the Twitter. Fox Sports AZ is the hashtag, all one word, Fox Sports AZ. Follow us on the Twitter and use the hashtag Jody on Twitter. That's hashtag Jody on Twitter. Tyler Flowers leads off the fifth against Zack Greinke. So far, 4 scoreless innings. Zack has given up only 3 hits. He's not walked a batter. He's got 3 strikeouts.
7 of the 12 outs that Zack Greinke has recorded in this game have come on 3 or fewer pitches.
Got complete game stuff. I'm sure that's what Mike Butcher is whispering in Torey Lovullo's ear in the dugout. Butch gets excited when he sees Greinke like this, when he's in complete command like he's been tonight. Although he has given up 2 hard hit balls. One was Flowers' double in the second. The other was a double in the fourth by Freddie Freeman that hit the yellow line in the home run porch. Just missed a homer. Breaking ball, and it's 0-2. If you were on the Twitter, maybe your staff is, what would you ask Jody on Twitter? Maybe you can prepare some questions tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Set some folks to work back there.
Take me through how Twitter works.
I'm not sure that you're ready for that. Nor is the American Twitter public. There's the slow curveball from Greinke, gets his 4th strikeout.
He saw Flowers way out in front of a slow curve earlier in the at bat, so he took even more off of this one. Got Flowers way out in front that time. Adding and subtracting.
Big City Matt Adams chased a high fastball and struck out his first time up. Diamondbacks have the shift on against Matt Adams. Here's a look at the defense. Pretty standard. Jake Lamb, the third baseman, all by himself on the left side of the infield. Adams is up there hacking. He's not a patient hitter. This is when Greinke against this guy is really in the driver's seat. Breaking ball down and away, fastball up. He's going to go after it. Mathis wants it up. Sure enough, Adams puts a charge in it. Peralta left field, 2 down.
MLB.TV every night, every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
4 in a row since the Freeman double, retired by Greinke. 2 down, and here's the shortstop Johan Camargo. He struck out his first time up to lead off the 3rd. Greinke 60 pitches, a remarkable 49 for strikes, and there's another strike.
Boy, and really turning the page on the Atlanta offense. After the first time through the order, he faced 9 hitters through 43 pitches. 24 of them were fastballs.
Turned to first, and that's a fair ball. Gets down the right field line. Camargo, who continues to impress. He's hit .385 in his last 15 games. And he's got a 2-out double. That's the Braves' 3rd double tonight against Zack Greinke. They've only got 4 hits.
Just past a diving Paul Goldschmidt down into that right field corner. Just to complete that, the first time through the order, he threw 24 fastballs out of 43 pitches. So far, the second time through the order, he's only thrown 4 fastballs. Mixing in more curveballs, more sliders, more changeups.
Well, here's the pitcher's spot, and Sean Rodriguez will hit for Akil Morris. Rodriguez only 6 games with the Braves this year and 1 for 14 at the plate. First pitch slider is in there. And Whistler, the right-hander, warming up in the Braves bullpen. Rodriguez signed with Atlanta in November, went on the 60-day DL early in spring training with a shoulder injury and was just activated about a week ago. So he's been out all season long. His 10th season in the big leagues. You'll recognize Sean Rodriguez. Last couple of years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Before that, 5 seasons in Tampa Bay. Started out with the Angels.
Sean Rodriguez got a lot of airtime as a member of the Pirates when he took out his anger on the Gatorade cooler by punching it like a heavy bag.
The latter day Carlos Zambrano, he used to do that a lot. He's a pretty demonstrative guy. Whenever there's chirping between the two benches, he seems to be involved. Got fooled on a slider, and it's 2-2. Leadoff man Danny Santana on deck. He's over 2. Well, Greinke stranded a 2-out double in the second, stranded a 1-out double in the 4th, and now in the 5th trying to strand a 2-out double. Not this time. Say goodbye. Sean Rodriguez, just his 2nd hit all season, and suddenly it's 4-2. th home run given up this year by Zach Greinke.
Comes on a slider, not a bad pitch. 85 down at the bottom of the zone, but Rodriguez apparently looking for something off speed and got it right where he likes it. That ball was clubbed out of here to left field.
Yeah, it was. A double and a homer, both with 2 outs, cuts the D-backs lead in half, and here's the leadoff man Santana. He has grounded out twice, once into a double play. First pitch changeup from Greinke. It's 0-1. You want to get this game if you can. The Rockies have already lost in St. Louis. Dodgers are trailing at home 2-0 in the 4th against Bartolo Colon and the Twins. Changeup just missed. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. .70 pitches for Greinke, 55 strikes. It's hard to first. Tricky hop for Goldie. Greinke's there, and that's the end of the inning. But with 2 outs, Camargo doubles. Rodriguez a pinch hit homer. It's 4-2 Diamondbacks. Diamondback fan as she enjoys her delicious dessert. Look, Andy's going to make sure that nobody messes with her while she eats. He's doing a dynamite job. Hey fans, D-backs 2018 season tickets on sale right now. Season ticket holders get the best seats for the lowest price, plus excellent benefits like early entry into the ballpark. To secure giveaways, watch batting practice, concessions, discounts, access to exclusive events, a whole lot more. Buy or renew your 2018 D-backs season tickets. You can do that online, dbacks.com/advantage.
Always great to see the kids out at the ballpark. A tremendous weekend here. The fans came out in big numbers. Were roundly entertained by some great baseball. Unfortunately, the Diamondbacks dropped 2 out of 3 to the Nationals, but great ball games. The fans were really into it.
We had just under 110,000 fans here this weekend for the 3 games against Washington. Here's Matt Whistler on to start the bottom of the 5th against Daniel Descalso. Whistler's been out for most of the year, just his 9th appearance. Descalso has walked and scored a run. He's also struck out. I think Andy was just hanging around that young lady. I'm going to try and get a bite of that Sunday.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
It's usually the way he operates. You know, we tell you, all kidding aside, Andy comes up and visits us every Sunday. There he is, and we like to check in with him because he's got his finger on the pulse of Diamondback Nation, as it were. And he told us, the crowds this year. You just talked about the crowd this weekend. Man, they're into it down there. It's full, and people are cheering, and they're excited. It's been a great year for that. That's when you say, hey, we hear on the street, word on the street. Well, that's our guy, Andy. He's on the street. So check in with him when you're at Chase Field, and he'll tell you what's really going on. 3-2 to Descalso. That's slicing foul the other way.
Just to put a bow on the outing by R.A. Dickey tonight, we talked earlier this season about a movie called Fastball, talking about some of the greatest fastball pitchers in the history of the game and how they measure the velocity. Well, there's also a movie released back in 2012 called Knuckleball, about Charlie Huff and R.A. Dickey and Tim Wakefield and all the knuckleball pitchers throughout the history of the game. Very interesting if you like that kind of stuff. Freak pitches.
This is bounced up the middle and it rolls into center, a leadoff single. Yeah, the Rangers had actually drafted R.A. Dickey. He was a pretty high pick in the first round of the '96 draft out of Tennessee. They discovered he had no ligament in his arm. That's why he started throwing the knuckleball.
And look at the longevity of the careers. Wakefield 19 years, Charlie Huff 25, a couple of knuckleballers in the Hall of Fame. It's a very unique pitch, and that movie really drives that home, more so than just the physical aspect of how does the ball move and how do you hold it. The mental taxation that takes on a pitcher to float a ball up there at 70 miles an hour to a big league hitter.
Chris Owings sends Santana back in center. Descalso will bluff and get back to the bag. Well, you know who else always thinks they can throw a knuckleball is any infielder.
Any infielder, any outfielder, any catcher.
I mean, Cliff Pennington used to start his warm-ups when he was a Diamondback by throwing knuckleballs, playing catch with guys. He couldn't wait to get in there and try one. Flowers wants a word with Whistler here as Mathis, who has singled twice and scored twice, steps in. Two ball game here in the 5th. Diamondbacks led it 3-0, 4-0. Atlanta answered with a 2-run homer by Rodriguez in the top half of this inning. Greinke has an RBI double tonight. Fastball missed. Jeff singled and walked in his start behind the plate in Friday's game against Washington. He's 2 for 2 so far tonight.
Dickey out of the game. I guess it is a different mitt. It has a closed web this time. The one he was using to catch R.A. Dickey, the bigger hybrid glove, had an open web on it. More like an outfielder's glove almost.
Fastball in, spins Mathis around. It's 2-1. The other thing we talked about with Dickey out there, he was not presenting the pitcher with a target. Dickey would basically throw to the head of the catcher and hope for the best. But now Flowers back there with Dickey out of the ball game. Presents that target. Mitt's not on the ground. Floats a slider up there, and Mathis 2 for 2 so far as they had 3-1. Greinke on deck. Popped it up and behind the screen. D-backs trying to get back on the winning track. 6-14 in the last 20 games. Swept by the Braves back at SunTrust Park a couple of weeks ago. 3-2 to Jeff Mathis. All 4. 2 on and 1 out for Greinke. Zach tonight has an RBI double that he pulled down the left field line. He laid down a really nice sacrifice bunt his second time up. Jeff Mathis aboard tonight for the 3rd time. He's at first, Descalso at second. Freeman creeping in from third. Greinke squares, bunts it straight back to the mound. Whistler's got one play as Phillips gets over there. Another very well executed sacrifice bunt by Zach Greinke. A chance for David Peralta. 2 on and 2 out. David had an RBI single his last time up. Chance to get those 2 runs on the Rodriguez home run right back. Yes, he went. First pitch slider from Matt Whistler.
Zach Greinke has doubled his sacrifice bunts for the season tonight. He had 2 coming in. He's got 2 on the game. He gets the green light an awful lot, though, for a pitcher in what could be sacrifice bunt situations, especially when you have a lead in the ball game. Torrey likes to turn him loose.
This is slicing over foul ground, third base side for Freeman. And Whistler strands 2, keeps it a 4-2 ball game. We're through 5 at Chase.
I think we all understand that we were playing a special brand of baseball and winning a lot of baseball games, and we enjoyed that for as long as it was coming to us. And seasons are full of ups and downs, and we're aware of the fact that this was a possibility. We're not playing lousy, awful baseball. We're just getting beat.
That was Torey Lovullo before tonight's ball game. He was asked about his level of concern for this ball club, the way they played the last few weeks, and he said his level of concern was minimal. And then he went down and said, say what you heard there, that he just feels like it's part of the ebb and flow of a season, and his team was playing such great baseball first 2.5 months of the season. This was bound to happen. But you also knew, Steve and Bob, that very encouraged by the fact that he has J.D. Martinez in the lineup now, makes it a lot deeper of a lineup, and I think he's encouraged by some of what he's seen in the last couple of days as well.
Well, Pat, I would think so. I mean, they weren't going to keep it going like they had when we came back from Miami earlier this year, as Brandon Phillips pops out to Descalso to open up the 6th inning. Freddie Freeman, the hitter. I mean, go back to the first week of June. D-backs closed a long road trip, lost the final 3 games of a 4-game set at Miami. Volquez had that no-hitter. But from that point on, starting June 6th, Diamondbacks, Bob, won 16 out of 19. Right? You weren't going to keep that up all year long.
Yeah, and I think any manager at the major league level would tell you there are times when you lose a ball game, but you're very proud of the way the team played and, you know, the things they did during the game to help them win. Unfortunately, they just didn't get there. There are other times when you win a game and you're not happy with the way the team played.
2 quick outs for Greinke in the 6th.
You know, as Torey said, they're not playing lousy baseball. They're just getting beat. You have to remember that the other team has good players too, and they're trying to win. So you're not going to go out there and steamroll everybody. As long as you're playing the kind of baseball that you think is conducive to winning, even if you lose a ball game, hey, if you do things the right way and lose a ball game, that's going to happen.
Well, how about Zach Greinke? 2 outs on 3 pitches to open up the 6th. And here's Matt Kemp, who was twice grounded out to shortstop.
Matt Kemp has had 2 at-bats. He's seen 3 pitches in each one of them, all sliders.
He will chase that all day long. Greinke, look at this. He's at 74 pitches right now with 2 outs in the 6th inning. We talked about his previous start last Wednesday in Cincinnati. He needed 104 pitches to get through 5. So consider that difference. Unbeaten at home this year, Zach Greinke. 9-0 in 11 starts at Chase Field. Look out.
Oh, man.
Right into that protective netting that extends between the 2 dugouts, and that saved it from going in the seats.
Well, we're used to judging exit velocity on batted balls, but the exit velocity on that bat itself was about 100 miles an hour that time.
Yeah, thank goodness for the netting back there. 1-1 on Matt Kemp. Just missed with a fastball. Alfonso Marquez didn't like it. It's 2-1. Hard changeup, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Good example there of Zach not throwing a fastball in what is traditionally a fastball count. Hitter ahead 2-1.
Big slow curve.
Fishes for it, pops it up for Goldie. Zach Greinke, an 8-pitch 6th inning. He's got a 4-2 lead. Leads at 4-2, bottom 6. Time for the Unlimited Baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. The Rockies just ahead of the Diamondbacks for that first National League wild card. Lost at St. Louis today, 8-2. In the meantime, the Twins who had a 2-0 lead in LA. That lead is gone. Dodgers got back-to-back home runs in the 5th off Bartolo Colon, Yasmani Grandal, and Jock Peterson. Solo homers to tie that game 2-2. So the Cubs, they lost at home against the White Sox 3-1. A.J. Pollock leads off the 6th, an RBI double in the 2nd. A.J. drives one toward the right field corner. That's over the head of Markakis, up into the seats. A.J. Pollock, his second double tonight, and his 18th on the year.
Oh, I love that approach. Fastball up and out over the plate. A.J. just barrels it right down that right field line. Markakis was cheating over a little bit into the gap in right center. No chance to get to that one. Up and over the wall into the bullpen.
I think that might have hit Judd out there. Judd, are you all right? All right. That laser-like focus. Jake Lamb. Jake has walked twice tonight and struck out. He's 0 for 1. Judd was down there putting away the chicken earlier that Dennis Lamb cooked. I got to say the dessert tray was impressive.
Too many choices. I mean, and it all looked so good.
You were all over that lemon cake like a bad habit.
Pound cake. That's too good.
Our crew takes great care of us. 2-0 on Lamb. Speaking of lambs, big cut at that fastball.
Now Tyler Flowers alerting his pitcher Matt Whistler to keep an eye on A.J. Pollock out there at second base. A.J. was dancing around a little bit on that last pitch, trying to time that delivery.
Diamondbacks have left 9 runners on base. They got 4 runs on 7 hits. Still just a 4-2 ball game here in the 6th. Jake Lamb walks for the 3rd time tonight. So first and second, nobody out to start off the 6th, and here comes Goldie. Goldie has struck out, walked twice, 0 for 1. Diamondbacks hitters have drawn 7 bases on balls tonight. Pollock at second, Lamb at first, nobody out. Put up another big crooked number here. Flowers wants a word.
Hey, we talked about the Hillsboro Hops going to the postseason again this year by winning the first half in the Northwest League. Also want to congratulate Cody Reed, a left-handed pitcher for the Visalia Rawhide, was a Cal League Pitcher of the Week. He's having a great year on the season. He's pitched 106 innings, struck out 110 batters, only given up 88 hits.
Roll Hyde. Not easy pitching in the Cal League. First pitch fastball to Goldie is 1-0. There's a little baby slider in there for strike 1. Dodgers now have a 3-2 lead in LA over the Twins. They're in the 5th inning. Starting to get to Bartolo Colon a little bit there. Goldie drives one toward Markakis, and it's over his head and off the wall. Pollock had to hold up. Tony Perez-Chica waving him home, and he scores. 5-2 D-backs, an RBI double for Paul Goldschmidt. Markakis has got a couple gold gloves on the mantle out there. The base runners had to hold up just to make absolutely sure, and that's tacos.
That is indeed tacos. That was smart base running by A.J. Pollock at second. As you mentioned, Markakis is a really good defender out there in right field. That's a cement mixer slider up and out over the plate. Nice hitting by Goldie to stay right on it, drive it to the opposite field, just over the outstretched glove of Nick Markakis.
So a double, a walk, and a double open up the D-backs 6th. And here is J.D. Martinez. Infield comes in a bit for Atlanta. J.D. struck out with the bases loaded to end the 4th his last time up. His first start at Chase Field as a Diamondback tonight. Big, strong power hitter, 6'3", 220. Infield still in for Atlanta. Lamb at 3rd, Goldie at 2nd. Still nobody out.
Now we talked about the Fab Five at the top of the Diamondbacks offensive order tonight. They've got 4 of the 5 RBIs in this game. Chance to cash in a couple more right here for J.D. Martinez.
Well, you and your staff were all over our Valley Honda dealers. Keep the game. That was well researched.
Well, we don't want to slight the guys at the bottom of the order because we've had a lot of big hits from Jeff Mathis tonight, Chris Owings over the course of the season, Daniel Descalso, Chris Iannetta, Chris Herman. They've all come up with big hits at times during the season, but these top 5 are the guys you're really going to lean on the rest of the way.
Tell you what, I know J.D. wants to make a big impression, but it looks like he's trying to hit a home run every time. He's a big, hard swinger anyway. A ball and 2 strikes. J.D. Martinez way back. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the Diamondbacks, J.D. Martinez. Oh, he hit that a mile.
Make that 7 out of 8 of the RBIs coming from the Fab Five. Oh my goodness.
That one was close to the DBTV video board out there. That was Goldie distance. That's what he can do for you. J.D. Martinez. Here's Descalso. 4 runs are in, still nobody out here in the 6th. Watch this one.
Oh, Whistler tried to quick pitch and throw a slider. Unfortunately, his mechanics got all out of whack, and he left that one right up over the heart of the plate for J.D. Martinez, who hit that one to Cave Creek.
Jumbo Jack, you better believe it. That one slices foul. A free Jumbo Jack tomorrow at Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink.
106 miles per hour off the bat of J.D. Martinez. That one estimated at 427 feet.
That's what he brings to the dance. J.D. Martinez, last several years, has been one of the more underrated power hitters in the American League.
Hey, you saw the numbers on the season, mostly coming with the Tigers. 16 home runs, but only 39 driven in. I don't think that's any fault of J.D. Martinez, that the RBI total isn't higher. We saw Detroit earlier this season. It's tough to get those guys to run the bases.
Yeah.
You need a cattle prod to get some of those guys to go 90 feet.
Hit hard to second. Nice scoop there on the backhander by Phillips, and that's the first out.
JD hiding down in that 5 spot in this Diamondbacks lineup with some of the on-base percentage guys that he has in front of him now. He's going to rack up a lot of RBIs before the end of the year.
JD last season in Detroit hit 22 homers. The year before that, 2 seasons ago, he was an all-star and belted 38. Chris Owings 0 for 3 so far. D-backs with 3 in the second, 1 in the fourth, and now 4 here in the 6th. Double walk, double home run, open up the inning. I imagine that JD can maybe exhale a little bit.
I would think so.
You know, he came to the new team, got hit on the hand in his second at bat. Everything that goes along with being traded, your whole life gets turned upside down. Here he is with Tim Laker, who was his hitting coach in Houston and really helped JD Martinez redesign his swing. But now that he's really contributed in a big way, that one spins Owings around. Maybe JD can feel a little more at home. That was a little too close for comfort from Matt Whistler following the Martinez homer.
Nice job by CO. That's exactly the way you're supposed to turn out of the way of an inside pitch. Even if that does stray up and in a little bit more, it's going to hit you on the back or on the shoulder. It's not going to get you up around the head or in the face or, God forbid, in the hands or wrist.
And that's what happened to JD Martinez, turning into that pitch, and then your hands are right there exposed, right?
Yep.
Fastball in, they go down and away. Missed. It's 3-1. Jeff Mathis, who has 2 singles and a walk tonight, is on deck. He scored twice. Freddie Freeman at third. He looks just fine down there, Freddie Freeman.
And everything so far. Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located here at Chase Field during any D-backs home game.
Well, Jeff Mathis, your staff had Fab 5 and they were right on the button with that, but Mathis hitting 8th tonight. 2 singles, a walk. He scored twice. Now with a 6-game hitting streak. Well, that Dodger game's going back and forth. It was 2-0 Minnesota, then it was 3-2 Dodgers. Now it's 3-3 in LA. They're in the 6th. The Rockies have already lost at St. Louis 8-2. Mathis lines one to Kemp. Late break and he can't get it. Jeff Mathis, 3 singles and a walk. He's reached safely all 4 times he's been up. Boy, Matt Kemp got a lousy jump on that one.
That's not the first time that's been said.
It's very true.
Sinking line drive out there to left field. Kemp kind of froze in his tracks initially and then tried to close ground quickly and make the diving catch on a hop. Stay hot, Jeff Mathis.
Here's Zach Greinke. Zach's got an RBI double. He's dropped down 2 really nice sacrifice bunts. Swinging away with 2 outs here. There's Nick Ahmed. Good to see Nick here. Another guy that got hit by a pitch. He suffered a much more serious hand injury than JD did. That's not a play. That's how it's done. Oh, there's our guy.
He's been leading cheers over there on the third base side. He had the fans spelling Goldy. What's that spell? Goldie.
He's outstanding.
That'll make him captain of the Rallybacks.
Well, you know, earlier this year we were playing YMCA by the Village People of the PA, and he put on an exhibition that is so far still unmatched. Doing all the letters and everything. Zach can't check his swing, bites on that slider, but welcome to the Diamondbacks, J.D. Martinez. Goldie an RBI double, and J.D. launches one, a 3-run homer. It's 8-2. Three-run homer is 17th of the year, and his first as a Diamondback has helped the D-backs get to an 8-2 edge here as we start the 7th. Vans Crystal Pepsi's Throwback Tour is coming to Phoenix. Sugar Ray's Mark McGrath will be here. He'll be headlining a post-game street concert Friday, August 11th after the D-backs game against the Cubs. For all the info, visit dbacks.com/concert. JD may have dented the hitter's background back there with that home run he hit. Wow, what a shot. In the meantime, Zach Greinke's retired the last 4 he's faced. 79 pitches through 6 innings, and Nick Markakis leads off the 7th. Markakis has struck out, flied out 0 for 2. 10 hits away from 2,000 for his career. Boy, 80 pitches and 61 strikes. Zach Greinke.
He's just been remarkably efficient. He threw 43 pitches the first time through the Braves order. Second time through only 24 pitches.
Wow.
Going back to that double play that ended the 3rd inning, he's retired 9 of the last 11 on 3 pitches or fewer.
1-2. Greinke has given up 2 runs on 5 hits. 3 doubles. Braves scored all their runs on a 2-run pinch hit homer by Sean Rodriguez in the top of the 5th. Hard to second, but Descalso scampers over there and flag that one down. 5 in a row retired by Greinke since that Rodriguez homer.
Catcher Tyler Flowers.
Tyler Flowers doubled. Deep to left center his first time up. He's 1 for 2.
Zach does not have a 3-ball count yet in this game. He's only gone 2 balls on 1 hitter. 2-0 on 1 hitter, rather.
Wow. No walks, 4 strikeouts.
And this is one of those nights you watch the target that Jeff Mathis gives behind the plate, and Zach is, when he misses it, it's just a matter of inches and almost always in his favor.
Is that a good way, if you're watching a game on TV, to judge how the pitcher's command is?
Sure. Watch where the catcher sets up and watch how close the pitch comes to the target. I mean, there have been a couple of instances with 2 strikes where we've seen Jeff Mathis give the signal for a fastball and then indicate that he wants it up, and every time Zach has thrown it up there above the top of the zone. Missed a little that time.
Spiked that hard changeup. Greinke trying to get to 10-0 at home this year at Chase Field.
Tyler Flowers, another big guy, has tremendous power when he makes solid contact, but he too chokes up on the bat. About 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches up off the knob of the bat.
6'4", 260, Tyler Flowers. He played at Chipola College in Florida, where Patrick Corbin went down to pitch. Matt Adams, big city, on deck. Mentioned there were a couple of trades. One was made by the Braves today. They sent Jaime Garcia, the left-hand pitcher, to Minnesota for a prospect. Garcia was scheduled to start the game here Wednesday afternoon against Patrick Corbin. Dropped that curveball in there for strike 3. Flowers doesn't agree with Alfonso Marquez.
Well, he'd thrown him everything else in that at bat. Finally finishes him off with that big curveball at 75. Drops it right in there on the inside corner.
Base is empty, 2 outs for Matt Adams, who's 0 for 2. D-backs have the shift on. Here's another curveball. It's 0-1. Adams has struck out, flied out. Twins not the only AL Central team making moves here. The Royals acquired some pitching help as well. Kansas City suddenly finds itself in the mix. Royals and Padres pulled off a trade today. Former Diamondback Trevor Cahill goes from San Diego to Kansas City, along with 2 pretty good relievers. Brandon Maurer and Ryan Buchter go from the Padres to the Royals. So that trade deadline starting to heat up, about a week or so away.
Well, it seemed like just a couple of weeks ago the Royals were talking about backing up the truck and unloading. They got hot, started to win some games, decided to go the other direction.
The Royals got off to a miserable start. They were 7-16 this April, and it looked like this might just be a lost season for them, but they started today with a 5-game winning streak, and they have extended that to 6. They beat the Tigers 5-3 in Detroit, and the Padres are in a total rebuild. Look out. That one almost got Eddie Perez at first. It's full on Adams, 3-2.
First 3-ball count in the game for Zach Greinke here against Matt Adams.
Johan Camargo, who doubled his last time up, is on deck. Base is empty, 2 outs, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Matt Adams. That's trying to get foul. Nobody's over there. A long run for Peralta. And they have to be careful he didn't run full steam into Jake Lamb over there. Shift is on against Big City Matt Adams, and that whole side of the field is wide open. Acres of space out there for Peralta. But Jake got a little too close for comfort. Got to remember, both guys are on a dead run here.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. With that shift on, both those defenders are running as hard as they can to get to the spot. And the closer you get, the more you sense the presence of somebody else running hard. So,
I mean, you don't want to get run over by the freight train.
Oh, no. Discretion, the better part of valor right there.
They'll leave the shift on, still 3-2 to Adams. See all that room over there.
Zach Greinke and Jeff Mathis carrying on a conversation without saying a word.
Got him. Zach Greinke has set down 7 straight. He's got 6 strikeouts and an 8-2 lead.
Diamondbacks holding an 8-2 lead over the Braves. Interesting little interchange there between Jeff Mathis and Zach Greinke on that last pitch to Matt Adams. Jeff Mathis calls for a changeup. Zach Greinke stepped off and then says, yeah, you're right. Let's throw the changeup. I was wrong. So Jeff Mathis hangs down the sign for the changeup once again, and they get big Matt Adams to swing and miss. I love that. Just to cock your head to the side a little bit as a catcher. What are you thinking? Well, I think you were right. Let's throw that changeup. And it worked.
New pitcher for the Braves, the lefty Ian Kroll. David Peralta, the leadoff man, leads off the bottom of the 7th and slices one toward Kemp. And again, he can't get there. Plays it on short hop, a leadoff single. Peralta's second hit tonight. Boy, Matt Kemp rated as one of the worst defensive outfielders in baseball in recent seasons, and he's just not getting good jumps on balls. Here's the numbers on Kroll. It hasn't gone well. An ERA about 5.5. He's given up 21 hits in his last 10 innings. And he's not getting lefties out this year either. They're hitting over 280 against him. AJ has doubled twice. He's scored a run. He's knocked in 2. Zach Greinke checking out all those charts with Mike Butcher. You talked about Zach's thought process. It's that shot that we just saw that Greinke will often step off the rubber and think about. And we've talked to both Butch and Torey Lovullo about this. He knows in each situation with each hitter, I'm supposed to throw a changeup down and away to this guy. I'm supposed to throw a slider into this guy. And it takes him a while sometimes to get there. because he's got so much information to process. But that computer eventually finds the right spot, and I think that is what may have happened there. Zach may have thought, oh yeah, I'm supposed to throw a changeup here. All right, you go ahead. You were right.
And possibly going over the hitters that he's already faced and what pattern did you use to get them out in their previous at bats. Maybe we want to stick with that pattern. Maybe we want to try something different next time through. I don't think I'd change a thing right now.
It's working. Boy, Kroll just spiked that fastball in front of home plate. Peralta into second easily. Boy, Tyler Flowers should get the rest of the week off.
I say it all the time. You always get caught by surprise with a fastball in the dirt. You anticipate a major league pitcher being able to throw a fastball all the way to home plate in the air. Curveballs, changeups, splitters, knuckleballs. You anticipate those going in the dirt, but you never expect a guy to spike a fastball.
Here's a 3-0 fastball. Jake Lamb has walked 3 times tonight. He's on deck. That's going to get out of play. It's all the information that Zach Greinke had in that dugout with Mike Butcher. The Diamondbacks new analytics department this year, headed by Mike Fitzgerald and his entire staff, put into operation by Mike Hayes and the baseball ops unit and the analytics people. They have a mountain of information that they can provide all these guys now. Torey Lovello's got all kinds of color-coded charts and stuff. I mean, you can't believe all the info they have. AJ hits one well, hits it deep, and that ball is gone. AJ Pollock, that's his 5th, and it's 10-2. AJ tonight, 2 doubles and a home run. And the Diamondbacks offense has come alive.
As always, a good sign to see AJ driving this home run just to the right of straightaway center. His double earlier came down the right field line, driving that ball to center field in the opposite way. Nicely done.
Well, that had that sound that you love to hear, a jumbo jack off the bat of AJ Pollock. Free jumbo jack tomorrow with Jack in the Box with the purchase of a large drink. Jake Lamb has struck out and walked 3 times. Listen to this. Isn't that sweet?
Well, I've talked about it before. When a hitter catches one on the barrel like that, it makes that noise, but there is absolutely no sensation in your hands. That's how you know you've really squared one up. It feels so good because you don't feel anything at all.
Well, we always talk about those home run porch seats here at Chase Field. They have them on either side of the center fielder. And that's why we call them the home run porch, because that's where they go. It's one of the most unique seats in all of baseball. Jesse Wentz says David Rackley at 3rd. Lamb strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. Those seats let you just hang out over the actual playing surface. Not many ballparks have that. And you've got tables up there, chairs. You got big color monitors there in the counter. They have waitress service there. Bring you all your food and snacks. You're hanging out right over the outfield. It's a great seat. Bob and I did a game from out there in May. It really is a cool view. Here's Goldie. Goldie has walked twice. He's got an RBI double. Our cowboy back there is trying to get that Goldie cheer going. We got to name him the Rally Cowboy or something. D-backs with 10 runs on 12 hits. They've also drawn 7 walks tonight. Swing and a miss. Remarkable thing, only 2 of those walks have scored. Now we just need the Twins to come back in LA. Still tied 3-3 with the Dodgers in the 6th inning. Here to see the Rockies score. They lost at St. Louis today, 8-2. Mike Leake beat them. Full count, 3-2. Bouncer to Camargo at shortstop.
Look at Jake Lamb's night tonight. He walked in the 1st, struck out in the 2nd, walked in the 4th, walked and scored in the 6th, and struck out in the 7th. Reminds me of a quote I heard about Mickey Mantle one time. Mickey Mantle struck out 1,733 times in his career, or rather walked 1,733, struck out 1,710 times. So 3,443 plate appearances. He said, I did nothing for 7.5 years of my career.
JD Martinez, little broken back bouncer. Adams is way off the bag at first, and nice job by Kroll to get over there. And they get Martinez. But A.J. Pollock gets his 5th home run of the year. Torey Lovullo wants to check, no challenge. Diamondbacks add 2 more. They lead at 10-2. Pitches for the ball game. He's retired the last 7 batters he's faced. He's on to start the 8th inning. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Taiwan Walker, the new proud papa, is on the mound tomorrow night against hard-throwing Mike Foltynewicz. Game 2 of this 3-game series. D-Backs live pregame show comes your way at 6 o'clock on Fox Sports Arizona.
One way to keep the other team off the board is to keep the leadoff men off base. All 7 innings, he's retired the first batter for the Braves, and in 5 of those 7 innings, he's gotten the first 2 guys out.
Well, the first 2 guys up in the 8th will be Johan Camargo, the shortstop. Pitcher spot behind him, and Dansby Swanson is in the on-deck circle. Gregor Blanco takes over in center field for A.J. Pollock. Big night for A.J. 2 doubles, a 2-run homer. He scored twice, knocked in 4. Camargo doubled and scored his last time up. Came in on the Sean Rodriguez pinch hit 2-run homer. That was the last Atlanta hit against Zach Greinke. Goldie Greinke, 1 away.
You know, Goldie almost always takes that by himself, but I think he's rewarding Zach Greinke for hustling over there. Go ahead and give it to you. You ran all the way over here. I might as well toss it to you. You see T.J. McFarland starting to crank it up in the bullpen. Goldie almost always takes that one by himself.
Well, here's Dansby Swanson, and we talked about this earlier in the game. His offense has just fallen off the cliff. He's hitting .210 with 6 homers. Has 1 hit in 28 at bats in his last 11 games, and he is just really slumping right now. It's hard for him to get in the lineup. especially with Camargo playing so well. Looks at a first pitch. Ephus at 66. Here's Shelby Miller, the former Brave. Of course, arrived from Atlanta in a trade for Dansby Swanson and Ender Inciarte, among others. Braves also got Aaron Blair in that deal. Blair, a name keeps popping up in trade deadline rumors. But Swanson, you know, he had a 9-game hitting streak last month. That streak ended June 27th, and since then he's gone 5 for 54. So he's in a nosedive and just can't pull up. 102 pitches for Greinke, 75 strikes. There's a fly ball to J.D. Martinez in right field. That's 9 in a row, set down by Zach Greinke. So make it a 5 for 55 for Dansby Swanson. Bullpen still busy for the Atlanta Braves. Luke Jackson, the right-hander. Danny Santana 0 for 3 from the leadoff spot. Braves with 2 runs on 5 hits. Greinke has struck out 6. He's not walked a batter tonight. He has been outstanding. Kurt Suzuki has come out in the on-deck circle. That's Brandon Phillips' spot. Zach Greinke has really not had to work too hard. He did throw 19 pitches in that second inning when he had 2 strikeouts in the inning. Gave up a double to Tyler Flowers. On the ground to second, Descalso. Zach Greinke has retired the last 10 he's faced. Diamondbacks have scored 10 runs.
Get set for Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink, our post-game show. D-backs offense really breaking out, but Zach Greinke, how about an all-around performance tonight?
It's an all-around performance on the mound, and it was at the plate too. He got a big RBI double as well as a couple sacrifice bunts. He did exactly what he needed to do. His teammates needed him tonight. He delivered. And that clutch hitting, it was in place today. AJ Pollock 4 RBIs. Post-game show, guys, coming up after the game.
Okay, thanks, Gracie and Jody. New pitcher for the Braves. It's the right-hander Luke Jackson, his 26th appearance. He's been scored on only 4 times in his last 22 outings. Couple of defensive changes behind him. Dansby Swanson remains in the game. He'll play shortstop. Johan Camargo moves over to second base. Brandon Phillips comes out. So pitcher spot now second in the Atlanta order. Daniel Descalso leads off the 8th. He has walked, singled, scored a run tonight. 1 for 3.
I haven't really asked Torrey about this, but I'm sure he feels the same way I do. Pretty much the same way every manager does. You want to see as many pitchers in game 1 of a series as you possibly can. Chase that starter early, get into that bullpen, see as many arms as possible, maybe deplete some of the forces down there for the next 2 games of this series. In the meantime, Zack Greinke's been doing it all for the Diamondbacks. They don't even get a peek at the bullpen.
He's not given up a hit since Sean Rodriguez hit that pinch hit 2-run 2-out home run in the 5th. He's retired all 10 he's faced since. No walks and 6 strikeouts. T.J. McFarland had been warming up at the Diamondback bullpen. It's quiet out there now. And there's more good news. The Twins have taken a 4-3 lead at Dodger Stadium. They're in the 7th. Going to be scoreboard watching all summer long into September. In the middle of a very, very competitive wild card and NL playoff race. Chris Owings on deck. Rockies lost in St. Louis 8-2. Descalso, even in a 2-strike count, almost never swings at a bad pitch. It's the 3rd time tonight that Descalso was worked the count full 3-2. And he belts that one into right. Daniel Descalso aboard for the 3rd time, a walk and 2 singles. A chance for CO to get it going. Chris Owings 0 for 4. He's stuck in a 2 for 30 skid right now. Diamondbacks now with 10 runs on 13 hits. Braves 2 runs on 5 hits. Jackson tried the corner and missed. Holy Toledo.
Yeah, I want to double check this because I've been wrong so many times.
I'm not sure that's true.
Atlanta had thrown 6 wild pitches all season before tonight. I think they have 6 tonight.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6.
They doubled their season total tonight.
That's amazing. And it wasn't all R.A. Dickey either.
No.
That's the funny part of it.
I mean, first of all, I would expect that number to be higher coming into play tonight because they do have a knuckleballer on their staff, and teams that have a knuckleballer usually end up leading the league in wild pitches and pass balls by the end of the season, but they had only had 6 coming into play tonight.
Jeff Mathis is on deck. Jeff has had a big night at the plate. 3 singles and a walk in his 4 plate appearances. He scored twice. CO waves at that slider down and away. 2-2. Had a real hard time laying off that pitch last week or so. Reaches out and hits it off Jackson. Descalso heads for 3rd. They got him hung up. Daniel must have figured that was hit so hard back to the pitcher was going to roll away from him. But Jackson able to recover. They get the lead man at 3rd.
And that's that reaction for a runner at 2nd. We've talked about this in the past. The rule of thumb is a ball hit to your left, you're probably safe to advance. A ball hit to your right, you better make sure it gets through. Well, that one was hit to Daniels' left. Unfortunately, the pitcher got in the way, knocked it down, and got him out at third base.
Well, here's Mathis, 3 singles and a walk. He's scored twice. Greinke's spot is due up next, and Brandon Drury is in the on-deck circle. So that looks like all for Zack Greinke. There's action in the Diamondback bullpen again. As Greinke, 4th time this year, he's gone through 8 innings for the Diamondbacks. 4th time in his career, I should say. Wait a minute. 4th time through 8 innings this season for Zack Greinke. So 4th time this year. Penmanship counts. You try and read this.
No, believe me.
You got to get these guys under control.
Well,
I'd like to see fines for poor penmanship.
And I even double-checked the numbers on the wild pitches, and I was still wrong. I read their rank in the National League. They're 6th in the National League in wild pitches. They've thrown 32 of them this season. That makes a little more sense.
Boy, this thing's gone off the side of the cliff here.
Yeah, it has. You know what? And I've got even more bad news for you.
What? I'm afraid to ask.
Today was the first day of school in Chandler and Mesa. Oh,
come on,
man.
It's July 24th.
No, come on. School. SKOOL.
Well, maybe it's not such a bad idea. If Mathis hits one pretty deep center field, Santana at the warning track. That's the second out.
I'm not looking at any more numbers tonight. I've had enough.
So Drury will hit for Greinke. Brandon 288 homers. He hit it safely in all 3 games against the Nationals, including that dramatic walk-off winner of that game Friday night. Zack Greinke outstanding. He went 8 innings, gave up just 2 runs on 5 hits. Didn't walk a batter, had 6 strikeouts, and retired the final 10 Braves he faced. Ground to Dansby Swanson at shortstop. Camargo's there for the force on Owings. We'll head to the 9th inning. It's 10-2 Diamondbacks. Tonight he went 8 innings. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool plays of the game. 2 runs, 5 hits, no walks, struck out 6, sent down the last 10 he faced.
Just masterful out there tonight. Used all of his pitches, a lot of fastballs early, a lot of breaking stuff and change-ups later, 2nd and 3rd time through this Braves order. Everything working, everything clicking, and even the home run pitch by Sean Rodriguez. That was down in the zone, a hard slider working its way down. Just a nice piece of hitting as TJ McFarland takes over here in the 9th.
DJ threw 1 1/3 yesterday against the Nationals. Gave up a home run to Wilmer Defoe in the 7th. A couple of defensive changes behind him. Brandon Drury stays in the game, takes over at second base, and Daniel Descalso moves out to left, replacing David Peralta. Kurt Suzuki hitting in the pitcher's spot, which is now second in the Braves order. The veteran catcher will lead off the 9th. Suzuki 257, 8 homers. He's got a 7-game hit streak going. He's homered 4 times during that hitting streak. Suzuki activated today from the bereavement list. He had returned to his native Hawaii for his grandfather's funeral. Anthony Recker, the veteran backup, had been filling in while Suzuki was away, but Recker was traded today to Minnesota along with pitcher Jaime Garcia, who was supposed to start the game here for the Braves on Wednesday afternoon against Patrick Corbin. 1-2. Tomorrow night, Taijuan Walker and Mike Foltynewicz. Freddie Freeman on deck. Freeman doubled in the 4th. Ender Inciarte getting a day off today. Former Diamondback. Ender's 3rd in the major leagues in hits. He's having a sensational year, an all-star this season for the Braves. Won a Gold Glove last year. Third in the majors in base hits, behind only Jose Altuve and Charlie Blackmon. 2-2 on Kurt Suzuki. Don't hit Taijuan Walker. He's got a pitch tomorrow night. Just became a dad. Taijuan missed his last start. They were in Cincinnati, had to fly back. Patrick Corbin filled in and turned in his best start of the year. Taijuan got the call in the middle of the night. Heather had gone into labor and they just had their first child, a baby boy named Zayden. And he looks tired.
He's going to look like that for the rest of his life.
Yep. Suzuki bidding for another homer. Martinez at the track, at the wall, and he's got it. Here's Freddie Freeman. There's the defensive alignment. Brandon Drury backs up in the outfield grass at second base.
Freddie Freeman, another guy that will probably never get the recognition he truly deserves. He's one of the best hitters in the game, but he plays a position that's just loaded with good players.
Yeah, he should be an all-star every year. He is just outstanding. 330 this year, leads Atlanta in home runs despite the fact he missed over 40 games with a broken left wrist. It's lefties, plays very good defense, does it all. DJ's got that one. 2 outs. Mark Grace and Jody Jackson standing by. Diamondbacks live postgame show follows our ball game here on Fox Sports Arizona. Join us tomorrow night. Pre-game show at 6. Taijuan Walker and Mike Foltynewicz. Game 2 of this 3-game set. Matt Kemp 0 for 3. Braves have not had a base hit since Rodriguez hit that pinch hit home run in the 5th. In fact, that was their last base runner. Fastball missed. It's 1-0. Twins leading in LA 4-3. They're in the 8th. Rockies have already lost in St. Louis 8-2. Diamondbacks have had good luck against Atlanta here at Chase Field. They've won 8 of their last 13 against the Braves here. And Atlanta hasn't won a series in this ballpark since 2012. And a good start here. D-backs about to close out a 10-2 win. And Kemp goes fishing. It's 1-2. This will get the Diamondbacks back to 15 games over 500, 57-42. If the Twins can hang on in LA, they'll pick up a game on the Dodgers. And they'll pick up a game on the Rockies in the wild card. Kemp strikes out and the Diamondbacks win it. Good start to this series against Atlanta. Zach Greinke was outstanding, and J.D. Martinez made his debut as a starter at Chase Field for the Diamondbacks and hit a long home run to center. 10-2, all good for the D-backs here tonight.
All good, especially Zach Greinke on the mound, who now goes to 6-1 the day after the Diamondbacks have lost a ball game. Talk about stopping bad streaks.
10 runs on 13 hits, a whole lot of offense. Zach Greinke went 8 innings, and he was outstanding. 10-2, more from Chase Field right after this on Fox Sports Arizona.